Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Pro Trade Room Plus and the WASDE Report. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director at 10 Minute Trades. Please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. All the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so please trade carefully. And welcome everybody. Let me know that you can see the screens, and we'll get started. Just a minute or two early, which is usually for me, I usually tend to be early rather than late. Just my nature. Anyway, all right, everybody can hear. The mic is good. You could see I'm checking over on YouTube. I don't know, it's a mystery. Sometimes the webcam shows up great. Sometimes it's blocked by the chat. So I'm just looking to see where it is. YouTube is delayed. That's the one thing to realize. So, you could put the webcam up here. Maybe we'll do that for today. Okay, everybody, it's Monday, so let's do a couple of things that we need to do. Check your time sync. Let's do that first. It's not even 11:30, so we're definitely early. Why doesn't everybody check their time sync so that your computer is ready to trade? So how do you do that? Just a reminder, in the room drive of the trade room, there is a folder, right, called Room Drive. And there are some files you can get there. Topmost clock is up there. That's this little widget. I guess you could call it a widget. It's actually a program. Topmost clock. It's an indispensable trading tool that we use to help us know what time everything is in the trade room. It's a great tool, and it's available for download in the trade room drive. And you can also get two programs that will help you put your computer in sync. D4 time, which is dimension 4, and PT time sync, and they're almost the same, just slightly different. They work basically the same. If your computer is not in sync, you run one of those programs and it will sync your computer. And the reason that we don't just use Microsoft Sync, you can right click on the time on the right lower part of your taskbar there, but there seems to be a lot of bugs in the Microsoft time syncing part of Windows. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it says it's syncing and it doesn't appear to be. So I like to use these third-party products that work all the time. ZC, you should be on 1224. I don't know what you mean by it's completely different. What do you mean completely different? Try changing your time on the chart. Go from 30-second to 1 minute. But I don't have a lot of indicators or anything on my charts. Also, you might want to go, when you go to data series, check that your trading hours are set at use instrument setting. Just load 3 days of data. Don't load too much data. Oh, if you have a big lineup, okay, I know how to fix that for you. It's because your data is not set the way we need it set. Okay. Right click. No, don't right click. Go to new. And let me just see if I remember how to do this. Let's see. Go to tools, Mauricio. Go to tools. Go to options. Go to market data. And global merge policy. Just put it on do not merge. and it'll get rid of that line, that candle, that out of control candle. It, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know enough about the data. I just know that that fixes it. We used to deal with that years ago. It was such a pain to fix it. So go to Tools, Options, Market Data, Global Merge Policy, Do Not Merge. Okay, and that should, you may have to change your time frame and go back to the time frame you're normally using. You'll usually have to make a change on the chart, but that's all that that is. That should solve the problem. What Mauricio's explaining, he has a candle that looks like it goes the whole, it's like a giant vertical candle that goes the whole chart. And it just has to do with the data. All right. I remember that used to happen a lot more with Ninja Trader 7 than it did with Ninja Trader 8. All right. Also, make sure that on ZS, the contract is 1124, and ZC Corn, the contract is 1224. Now, let's take a look at the DMM, the Daily Trade Report on WASDE. You can see that we do not trade WASDE as a breakout on corn. Okay? It has not been working at all. It just hasn't been moving much. That's been the big problem with corn. It basically just has not been moving on the news. And it is starting to make a comeback, however. You could see that 2 out of the last 3, it moved more than we've seen. Now, we do have a trap trade set up for corn, and it's a pretty small trap trade. I may try that setup in my Buellnox account just to see if it's working, because corn is starting to move a little bit more than it has been. WASDE's been a little bit inconsistent lately, all right? It's still, in my opinion, a family money trade, but it is higher risk these days because it has not been performing as well as usual. So you want to keep that in mind. It does, the good thing is that a couple of the trades that didn't work allowed us plenty of time to cancel them. So they didn't have to be full stops. But we've seen this kind of behavior before on WASDE. Sometimes it goes through these periods where it just doesn't have a big impact, and then it very often returns back to the mean and starts trading well again. So I normally always trade WASDE. It's just one of the reports that I accept the fact that it goes through these periods. Right now it's going through one. I'm, looking at our last, we have 6 on this journal, and it's had 3 that were good, 2 cancels. And in June, I don't think I canceled. I think I waited, and it was not a great outcome. But one of the tricky aspects of WASDE that you have to realize is it's not an event that shows up on the calendars. So normally we depend upon the movement of the market to let us know that we've been filled. I would say, as a general rule in WASDE, the 20-second cancel is a little too tight. I lean these days more of a 60-second cancel. I don't like to cancel the WASDE report in general, but it's pretty rare not to get a fill in 60 seconds. 20 seconds, you could cancel and miss a profitable trade. But if you want to be ultra safe, you can cancel in 20 seconds. I generally wait as long as possible because I've seen quite a few WASDE reports that triggered late. And like I say, it is a news event that does not show up on any calendars. So we depend on the market to let us know when it is filled. So here's the setup that I'm going to use today. So let's see what we got going. Let me check. I don't know if I have a template saved for WASDE or not. That I can use. That's the big question. Let's see. So WASDE, this may work. Let's see if this template is active. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to trigger my soybeans at 11:59:58. It's a breakout trade. Okay. It just the name shows up, Sander. They just show the schedule, but they don't show any data or anything like that. So when I say it doesn't show up on any of the calendars, what I mean is none of the results are there. So it doesn't really help us. Okay. So yes, it does show up. There's another calendar that I've been using that is good for grains. And I've showed it to everybody before. Let me pull it up. It's a good calendar. It's a calendar we had never used before. Trading economics. Trading economics. What I like about this .com, what I like about this calendar is it has an interesting way of highlighting what it thinks is important. It does this maroon bar that is important, but it also does these darker heads up. And what's nice about it, it's the only calendar that does the grains, and it does a lot of grains. Oat auctions. I mean, it has a lot of the grains. So it's the only calendar that has NOPA, our NOPA crush report on it. So it's just another tool to put in your toolbox, tradingeconomics.com. All right, back to the setup. It's a breakout trade, triggering Eastern Time 11:59:58, bracket of 12. Targets on soybeans. Definitely not going greedy because we haven't been getting very large moves. Okay, so I'm going to even be conservative today on my targets, even though sometimes WASDE can really explode. Don't forget, you always want to choose your own targets. You don't have to match mine. There's no reason to do the exact same targets that I do. I don't have some special window into the targets that, makes me a genius about targets. I'm not, okay? I would use a range of targets anywhere between 6 ticks and 40. All right? I probably wouldn't go too high because it's just not anticipated the way the report's been reacting lately to get those big moves. But you always can take a second bigger target because if it does move, you can always manage your way out of the trade. 11:59:58 on the trigger. The bracket is 12. Targets, like I said, anywhere between 6 and I think 6 and 30 makes sense today. The stop is 20. WASDE does tend to change direction, so you can definitely, if you like, use the target one stop move. I use the target one stop move. If it hits my first target, I'll use a break even -2. I'll put my stop to break even -2. The stop is 20 ticks. And that's my WASDE setup. Not that complicated. And I'll check my brackets by setting the time to 0. And when we know when we set our brackets to 0 and the price moves, it creates the brackets on the chart. All right. So there's our brackets. And then I'll put my time back to normal, 11:59:58. And I'll put my software on the account that I'm trading our JOBB account, apply it and okay it, and then I'll make sure that my charts match the account that I'm trading. All right. And then I'm going to set up a secondary trade just if there's a burst and it stops and I think there's going to be a big reversal. Or maybe we won't get a fill from the regular news and it'll look like there's going to be a change in direction or a continuation. So I'll set up that second event, a reverse continue. And in order to do that properly, don't forget you need to add a second strategy to the chart. Okay, now I went up and I wasn't thinking and I just changed my breakout. No, add the second event. Now I'm going to put it on reverse continue. Time doesn't matter. I'm just going to use one position. I'm going to have a target of 20 and I'm going to use a stop of 15 ticks or so. And all I'm doing there is just setting up a potential reversal continuation trade. I label it REV, 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 and then I'll also consider trading that in my regular account. So, and that's if there's an opportunity for a possible change in direction. So I've got my breakout trade, which is the main trade, triggering at 11:59:58 with a bracket of 12 and a stop of 20. All right, with the targets anywhere between 6 and 30. And then target 1 stop move, break even -2. So that's my soy trade. And then when I enable a reversal, it puts the buttons on the screen, gives you the opportunity to enter the market immediately if you choose, okay? If you so choose. And then on my Buellnox account, I'm curious to see if the trap trade's going to work. If corn will move enough to have a trap trade. So I'm going to put on the trap. The time of the event is 12. Now, because I'm using the new, I'm using the old software, so it stays the way it is. 12 is the time of the event. Activation prep time is 5 seconds. Tier 1 is a 1. Sorry, position size 1 is a 1. Position size 2 is a 1. That means each tier, each bracket has one position. Tier 1 is 8. Tier 2 is 16. The time of the event is 12 noon. Okay. Activation prep time is 5 seconds. Account warning should be off. I'm going to label it trap trap. I'll trade that in Buell Knox. If you're using the new software, the way that you do the time is 11:59:55. 11:59:55. In the new software, we put in the exact time of the trigger. We don't have the preparation seconds anymore. We just wanted to make time consistent. So position size 1 is a 1, position size 2 is a 1. That just simply means we're just one position for each tier. And of course, we have to not forget the stop. The stop on our trap is 15 ticks for corn. Here's our alternative down here. And I am going for a little bit the outer tier at 16, just in case corn decides to move. The stop is 15. Make sure your account warnings are not enabled if you're trading on the old version. And then I'm just going to apply it, okay it. Make sure my charts are on Buell Knox, which they are. And then if they're spread too far apart when the trade gets ready, I'll have to shrink them down. I'll have 5 seconds before the news comes out. So that's what we got going. All right, last month, 1224 is the correct account, correct contract, Alan, 1224 on ZC. You may have to add it as an instrument by going to Tools, Instrument Lists, click the Futures folder, add the instrument, and then type in ZC 1224. Also on data series, make sure that your data, when you go to Tools, Options, Market Data, it should be on Do Not Merge, okay. But the grains usually trade forward. In other words, they're usually trading a more forward contract than you think. And that's where the volume is. We're definitely trading the contracts that have the most volume. Almost always. Almost always. I did check the volume this morning. These are the correct, definitely the correct contracts to trade. Now, everybody, don't forget, check your time sync. Check your time sync by going to the website time.is, www.time.is, to make sure that your computer is in sync. When you go to that website, it checks your computer, and then I explained about the tools in the room drive if your computer is not in sync. So, what was I going to say? A couple of things. You know, when you have a trade coming up, always give yourself a lot of time to check things over. But what I would say, if for any reason you don't think that things are right, or you feel like, hey, I really can't get the right contract going, don't trade. Just do it in sim. Figure out what's going on after the trade. You certainly don't want to lose money because something wasn't quite right, in your NinjaTrader setup, etc. So, obviously you only want to trade when things are looking good and when things are correct. If you're not sure about the contract or you feel it's the wrong contract, your judgment is your final decision over your money. So do what you think is right. But if you're confused about something, if you don't feel something is right, definitely don't trade. There's no rush. There's plenty of events all week long. That's the most important thing to remember. It's like in sports, right? Don't force it. Don't force it. July, WASDE, it just hit our first target. It was a little bit choppy. Hit the first target, and that's why I like the break even on WASDE. It does reverse often, okay? It does reverse often. So July was a bit choppy, but it hit the first target. June was very quiet, if I remember. Let's double check June. Now, you could see the candle. I believe we didn't get filled, but the news, we probably knew that the news was out. Because you had this weird little candle action, this up and down candle action, which in retrospect, it gave us a good heads up that this was going to be a dull report. Sometimes we can be wrong, and sometimes you'll miss a good move. That's why I don't like to rush and cancel. But you could see that June probably should have been canceled. I would say right about here, right about 45 seconds or so. It just didn't seem like the news was moving the market. Sometimes you can get a move out of corn when soybean hasn't moved, and that will tell you that the news is out. That's why I like to, no matter what, I look at both instruments, no matter what. You don't have to trade both setups. In fact, most traders are better off just trade one setup only. Concentrate just on one setup. All right, so watching the market now. So I was saying before, I forgot that I had read there was the Italian Air Force was flying over Philadelphia for some reason, the Philadelphia region, and I don't remember why. Soy is November. Yep, ZS 1124, and corn is 1224. That is correct. Corn is 1224. Soy is 11. Soy is 11. They're not the same. And they're often not the same. They're not always the same. It definitely is volume related and date related, but we do see pretty often the grains trade more in the future than most other contracts. Gold sometimes trades in the future also. Because gold has no October, if I remember correctly, and gold is already on December also. All right, we've got about a minute and a half to go. Watching the market. Corn's a little active. Now, the biggest enemy to a trap trade is a huge burst. So we definitely don't want to see a huge burst in corn. All right. 20 seconds to go. So remember, it's usually the fill that tells us if we have an event. Our brackets will show up about now. Okay, hit the first target, and I'm guessing it pulled back really fast. Really fast. That's the only thing that could explain that it wasn't a winning trade. It's the only explanation because it was a good looking move. It hit my first target and then hit my second stop. Now, right now on corn, it filled only the first tier so far. I'm going to wait a few seconds to see if it finishes. So I just have to look at the video to see what happened. I can't believe that that was not a profitable trade. It was super fast. So I'm just wondering, my fill was not an initial great fill, but it didn't look terrible either. So I'm waiting to see if corn goes down to the second tier or if it's going to start reversing. If it starts reversing, I'm going to cancel the outer tier up here, up here. Now soybeans look like they are starting to reverse. And I'm too late. I think I'm too late to get in. I'm going to cancel my outer tier on corn and put my strategy into safety. No matter what, I can't lose on corn. I can trail it a little bit. I don't want to get I'm already too close. Can trail it again. Nope, I'm going to wait because it's not making a decision. Trail again. Trailing, trailing, trailing. Trailing corn, which is looking like it's moving up. It was very weird. Everybody type in what happened to you on soybeans. I actually lost $62, which is crazy. But it was so fast that I'm wondering maybe the stop did not get a good placement. But hey, I'm going to expand my target on corn, if it decides to keep going, I'm going to take this profit on corn. Right now, I can't lose money on corn no matter what. It's pretty choppy in a way. All right, took me out a little profit, $100 on the trap trade. Maybe I was a little tight, turning off my breakout, turning off my trap. Not a great reversal on soy, not a great reversal. So the squeeze did not help you. There was no reversal there. Corn had a really good change in direction. And the trap definitely is working now on corn again. Let's look at the video. I think what got people is the speed of the move. It was the speed of the move. Now, on this particular report, I would always use the break even, but I'm always upset, Roz, when it doesn't seem to move your target, your stops fast enough. Now, corn looks like I got too tight, too fast, possibly. Too tight, too fast. And soy is just not reversing. It's just not reversing. Roz, if you have the output, you should send me the Ninja Trader output. I would like to send that to the programmer. Can you do that? If you didn't have it open, it won't record it though. But if you have it, send it to me and I'll look at it, but I think he's going to have to look at it. I'd like to see what's happening. Let's look at the video. I think the video will give us some clues as to why it was so difficult. Because in terms of the size of the move, and then Chantal almost always knows what happened on soybeans. The pullback was super fast and it was big, and you didn't see it with the naked eye. That's really the big issue. The pullback, if we go to a smaller time frame, um, then I think we'll see it. I think that's what happened. Let's look at the regular video first, regular time frame. But I'm certain that that's what happened. It just couldn't get us safe fast enough. Let me render this video. All right, so let's watch it. And I do want to thank everyone that's watching us on YouTube. Thank you very much. If you would be kind enough to hit the like button, we would really appreciate it. So here is exactly what happened. I have to wait. I can only get my video so close. It's almost difficult to even see what happened. It's almost hard to see on that time frame chart. On the 1 minute chart, it looks like a very normal trade almost. But when you see how far it went, you'll see when we put it on a faster time, a slower time, a faster time frame, we'll see the move much better. Still frustrating because it looked like a great move and it wasn't. It's kind of tough to tell. It's really a tough one. It's really a tough one. It looks, my fill was 989. So it was not as bad a fill as I would have thought that it was. The fill was about halfway down the candle. But unfortunately, the market just did not cooperate with what almost looked like a good move. And it was very, very, very fast. So if I put it on a one range chart, you can really see the movement. Okay, hang on a second. Let me see if I can get to the time of the event. Sometimes you just say to yourself, well, it's the speed of the move, and the speed of the move just did not allow me to exit fast enough. Sometimes you can look at what seems like it wasn't that bad to the human eye, but the market money didn't cooperate with you. So let me just see if I can find my orders. Hang on, I went way too far. Sorry. All right, so I have to remove my strategy to see these orders. There's the orders. So I was filled. Give me 1 second, folks. I have to ask somebody a question. It'll only take a second. So there's my orders. I was filled at 989. Filled at 989. And this is just to give everybody a rough idea of what could have happened. So I got filled at 989. These moves up and down, you don't even see them because it looked like one move down almost completely. And look at all that movement up and down that you don't see. And then it hit my first target and shot up there and stopped me out. That's what happened to most everybody. Hit the first target probably, and then you didn't even see the move back up. And that's what caused it. That's what caused it not to cooperate. Okay. Is corn still going up? Son of a gun. Yep. I definitely was too tight. Well, it still pulled back a little bit, but it's really moving. So it was the speed and the fact that you couldn't see exactly what happened that didn't give us our profits. Yes, Ravi, I mean, sometimes you think that way, but you just don't know which report. That it's there's so many reports where you get a great move, you know? There's so many that are really good that you'd probably be cutting off a lot of profits as well. So it's very difficult sometimes to make that decision. And sometimes the reversal will be so fast it doesn't get you out in time. Because if you profit, um, I mean, if you take multiple contracts and profit, it probably will give you a profit. I'm not sure I would do that. I'm not I because I think this happens less than the good event. I mean, WASDE often has a good event, so it's pretty rare to get a move that good that didn't pay. That didn't pay. I want to thank everybody that's watching us on YouTube. I'm going to close down the stream. If you want to hit the like button, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you for joining with us. Keep an eye on your email for the next